Now, most people who know me know that I love to tell traditional tales. Personal storytelling isn't common in Ireland at all. But there's one story I want to share with you. It's a family story. It's not my story because I wasn't born at that time, but it's a very special story to me. Long before I was born, my father, who was a career soldier, was stationed on what at that time was the northwest frontier of India. Nowadays, it's the border between Pakistan and Afghanistan. My mother accompanied him. She had 3 children, my sister Eva, my brother Billy, my little brother Keith. Well, he was my older brother, but he was only 2.5 at that time. They were there for 2 years, and then they made the long journey by train down to Bombay or Mumbai as we know it now, and set sail to come back to Ireland again. But the date was September 1939, and they were on the Indian Ocean when the Second World War was declared. They were sitting ducks in big white ships. So the ships put into Mombasa in East Africa, where the men set about painting them with camouflage paint, battleship grey. And at that time, the women and the children had picnics on beautiful white sandy beaches with coconut trees. My mother loved that story. She told that a lot. But she realised that danger was all around them. And she was horrified to find out that the life jackets they had for the children, well, they were too big for my little brother Keith and for her friend's baby, who was only about 5 months old. So my mother was a really good seamstress. So she set about making life jackets for these 2 babies. All she had were cork and nappies, diapers as you call them in America. And in those days, of course, the nappies were made out of terry cloth. So she made these 2 tiny life jackets. And when they went back on the boat, the other family went on a ship called the Yorkshire. Our family went on a ship called the Britannia, and the convoy sailed up through the Suez Canal, out through the Mediterranean, past Gibraltar, round the coast of Spain, and when they were off the coast of France, my brother Bill saw a torpedo shoot through the sea and bang, hit the Yorkshire, quite a distance away from them. The Yorkshire exploded and sank very quickly. Our family ship switched off the engines because the German submarine, the U-boat, was stalking them underneath. And my mother said she stood there in her hat and her gloves, holding the 3 children by the hand and praying. She said, if these children go into the water, they'll never survive. Well, the all clear was made and they made their journey back to Ireland. I wouldn't be here to tell the story if that hadn't happened. And when they got back home, they heard the sad news of so many friends who'd perished when the Yorkshire went down, including my mother's friend. She was very sad about that. But in those days, there was only one place to go and see the news, and that, of course, was the cinema, the Pathy News. She sat in the cinema in Armagh, and she watched survivors from the Yorkshire being brought from that ship. The whole rescue was on the Pathy News. And there she saw a man carrying the little baby in the bundle, alive in the life jacket that she made. And that's my favourite story growing up. And this, in fact, is a Singer sewing machine beside me. It dates from 1925, and that was what she made the life jacket on. But I'll just give you the wee end of the story, because when my mum was 90 years old, they were having a night called World War II. What was it really like? And I was emceeing. My daughter was a reporter. So we brought my mother. And she sat there. I thought she'd just sit and listen. But of course, when it came to question time, I heard this fairly strident English voice, and you as my mother, asking questions. Now, there was a BBC radio crew there, and they said, who is this woman? Of course, it turned out she was the oldest person there. And I said, well, it's my mother. And my daughter was going, oh, it's my granny. So they asked, could they come and interview her? So they came and they did an interview with her, and they put it online. And it was very strange to listen to her voice after she'd passed away, but it's online. Your Place and Mine, BBC Radio Ulster, Nell Martin, you can look it up. But we got an email from a Mrs. Olive James. She said, I was that baby. My mother was drowned and my father and I were rescued and brought to Bordeaux. And you know, we were able to tell my mother that just 2 weeks before she died. And I'm telling you that story because I want you to see how important it is to share your family stories. Thank you.